Hi, this is Adam Castle, and today we're going to talk about how to make your existing K2 smart forms multilingual. First, we need to go to the K2 designer, and we need to add to our form the new multilingual control. Okay, it's called set language. We're just going to drag that on. Okay, so if we look at this control, we have a lot of different properties. We can specify multiple resource files, whether the translation runs on page load. Okay, you can translate buttons, labels, watermarks, and so forth. And you can even translate the data grid, so the column headers and even the data. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create a translation file or a resource file. So we have a small utility that will do that for us. Okay, click on File, New. Okay, and you can see that we have a label and a language culture. So this will be the text that we're going to search for. So if we look for, say, title, okay, of course, in English it'll be called title as well. And then we can add a new language, and we may call this big E, and of course, so that's how we can add new languages to our language file. Of course, we can rename, remove. Okay, so what we need to do is, when we save this file, is actually save it within the smartforms runtime bin directory. Now I have a file already created called core. Okay, and if you look at this, as I mentioned before, we have the different texts, and under the different languages we have the translation. Okay, so this is called core XML, and I'm just going to type in to my resource file property core. I'm going to save this. Okay, go back to my form, and we're just going to change the browser settings to French. Okay, now you can see that some of the items change, mainly the watermarks, okay, but most of the other items have not changed just yet. Okay, so what we need to do now is go back to our designer, okay, and we have another resource file called new employees. Okay, once again, it is located within the smartforms runtime directory under bin. Okay, so we have a new employee file there. So we're just going to put a comma under the resource files and type in new employee. Save. And we're just going to do another refresh. Okay, so as you can see, not much changes. We can see this changes up here from new employee to that text. Okay, so the main reason is, within our resource file, if we look at the first name, so it's first name colon. Within our resource file, it's just first name. So to save us having to create a record for first name colon, one for just first name, what we can do is, back in our designer, there is another property called preserve characters. So we can put in a colon here, click on save again. And what that will do is that will go through, when it's searching for the text, it will find that piece of text, it will then remove that character, the colon, which leaves us just with the first name. It of course will find that text, replace it, and then insert it back. So if I now do a Control F5, we can now see that we have actually translated the labels. Okay, so you can also see that the drop downs and the checkbox lists are also not translated. Okay, however, the picker control is. So the reason why is because after the page loads, then the data is actually inserted into the form or into those controls. So what we need to do is, within the form events. Okay, so we're just going to modify our form. Okay, and we should have an initialized rule. Okay, so what I want to do here is actually just transfer data. Okay, so after it initializes, it of course it'll then populate the checklist and the drop down. And what we're then going to do is force our control to once again do a replacement of the text. So we may just select the current date, any text at all, just stick it inside that. Okay, and that will cause our control to refresh or translate all the text once again. Okay. Okay, fantastic. So we can see we have the equipment which is translated, and our drop downs are also translated. Okay, so to show you another example, okay, we have another form on our left. Okay, we can see this is obviously our new employee form. I'm just going to fill this in. Okay, select our dates, departments, of course our picker control, which will be the manager, and we'll submit, and this will then start a workflow. Okay, so we now go back into our workspace, quick refresh, and we can see a new worklist task. Okay, so opening this task, we can once again see our form. Okay, we can see all the values that come through. Okay, we have a list of employees here. Okay, you can see that we can actually translate different text. You can see that also translated this data. Okay, we can add comments. And you can also see that it's translated the custom button as well. Okay, so you can also see that it's translated the actions as well. Okay, so if we now change this to Chinese, okay, you can now see this in Chinese, and once again, our actions in Chinese. Click on an action, click on submit. Okay, back to our workspace. If we do a quick refresh, the task now disappears. Thank you.